Well, it's Wednesday, it's the 25th of February 2026, and it's knitting club time for Anita. So I don't usually stop and get out of the car here with her, but I am today. I'm actually going to start my walk from here, going down into the little beach of Portals and then have a look at Bendinat. This is where the knitting club is. It used to be a kindergarten, I seem to remember.
It is.
It's also our voting station. It's where we come to vote. And we can only vote in the local elections, but knitting here, so have fun. Well, there's ladies who have started arriving and Anita's gone in, so I'm going to just walk down towards the little beach. This is old Bendinat, so this is like the original Bendinat. So lots of very well established villas, a few apartments, not so many apartments. But, some very, very nice houses as you go round. We'll see some of them. And I'm walking down the hill towards Portals. I think there is a hostel here as well, which is people used to come on holiday here. I think we used to go and see them. I'm going to walk down towards the main road. It's quite steep, but they've recently resurfaced this road, so it's much better. Oops, car coming down. When we had some storms about a year ago, a tree came down here, just the remains of it. And driving through the Tramontana, the mountains, last day or two, we've seen a few other trees down. So I say this is Old Bendinat, that's the seaside, so the sea is on that side. And then this is the main road, used to be the main road into Palma. And then on that side we've got New Bendinat, and with changed direction now, so Portals Nous is behind me and Palma is in front of me. I'm going to turn left here though and head towards Portals Nous. The big walkway's on the other side of the road, but I'll stay on this side. It's been a very long time since I've walked along this bit of the road. See the walkway on that side. And the bus stop here. When we first came to live on the island, I used to come and catch the bus here. This was my local bus stop. I don't think there were all these seats there then. In fact, I'm sure there weren't. And this building used to be Bar Granada, and for, I'm guessing 20 years, but for a very, very long time, it's been all boarded up. It's got a big advert on, but completely boarded up. So that was the bar inside there, and outside a little garden, beer garden. I only ever went a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. And this is Avenida America, just down here. And this takes us down to the little beach. Some apartments and houses down here. Walk over on this side. This is one way. It's not always been one way. You used to be able to drive down it, but they made it one way, so cars can only come up from the beach this way now. So nothing should be coming down. And the steps there take you back up to the road and on into the village. And they made some quite nice green space here. I'm trying to remember what was here before, if anything. I can't remember. Not on this particular spot. Maybe there wasn't anything. And when we came to live down here, so we came here in 1985, and we arrived at the end of August. And for the first couple of months we stayed in an apartment which was provided by the school. Gave us an opportunity to find somewhere. I think it was around about November. We found a house just down this road. One of the teachers had spotted it. And well, just to put things into perspective, we were paying in pesetas then. We used to pay 30,000 pesetas per month for our rent, and that was for a 3-bedroomed villa. Can you get that now? So this is one thing I do remember. This was a hotel here. I find it, looking at this piece of land, which actually looks reasonably pretty now, and the fact that there are rocks here makes it even more difficult. So that the hotel was on the top of those rocks, and this was the entrance to the hotel. And there was a staircase that went up here. So as you went in from the road to the hotel, you did have to go up some stairs, and that's what I can now appreciate, that it was built onto those rocks there. And this road was very poor condition. There was no pavements down here. And the rubbish, the rubbish collections, which were regular, just like today, every day they would come, and you would hang your bags of rubbish. So you went to the supermarket. We didn't have bins like this. You would keep your plastic bag that you'd bought all your things home in, put your rubbish in it, tie it up, and then hang it from the lampposts or the telegraph posts. And our neighbour Jorge used to have this garage. He would repair our car. But we're in a valley, so both sides it goes up, and there's steps there to go up to that house. One of them used to have a funicular railway. This new block here didn't exist. Of course, it was. This is after we arrived, so we watched this be built, and we lived down here for 2 or 3 years. Actually, until Anita became pregnant with Adam, and the house we lived in, which I failed to say, was up 75 steps. So when she was pregnant, it was quite difficult with 2 children. So we decided to move. There we go. There's the funicular railway that would take you up to that, some sort of pulley system. And up there is, well, that's a hotel. I'm not sure about that one. It was a hotel. This block here to the right, this was here when we came. And this was not a restaurant, this was a rent-a-car. That was the garage. And the man that owned it used to have all his cars in here, and I managed to get them up on 2 levels, which I thought was quite amazing. And well, that's the beginning of the steps we used to live in the house. We're right at the top there. There's something going on here. Oh my goodness, they've demolished the house. Well, this is a big piece of land, and this would have been the house that was right next door to where we used to live. And that's the beach. So we were 100 meters from the beach. And there used to be a bus stop just here. So I would come down the steps, and there was one bus route that actually came through the old Bendinat, and it used to pick me up at 8:30 so I could get on the bus. But sometimes I needed to be at school a little bit earlier, and so I had to walk up to the main road to get the bus up there, which is a bit more frequent. Get an earlier bus. So Anita would come here when we first arrived. She'd go to the beach. She would push the pushchair with Lara up there. And again, there was no pavement on either side. It was pushing up the road there. This was a square. Cars you could park in here. Where they would have big paellas in the summer. This is actually Plaza España for Portals Naus, and this is the Portals Naus beach. This was the Aqua Marina Hotel, it's now the Donna Hotel. And there was very much a spit and sawdust cafe there, but now there's a posh restaurant. And that was the beach cafe, not a cafe, shop, where you could buy little souvenirs and lilos and that sort of thing, beach balls. And all of this is obviously, it's changed considerably. The beach was tiny. There wasn't a lot of sand here, so they pumped some sand, and there were never showers on here. There was no access to the beach there. The access to the beach was in the centre, somewhere near to this tree, I'm thinking. And you used to walk down, there was a little jetty that went out there. So they got rid of the jetty, and they made the beach a little bit bigger. It's full of seaweed at the moment. And then they've created all of this beautiful area, really pretty here. Great for snorkeling, lots of things to see in the sea. It's very calm today, this is beautiful. We've just been to Sóller for a few days, and we've had some wonderful, amazing weather while we've been there. It's been nice and warm and sunny. And then we're reading about the weather in Palma, and they've had these fog banks. And I can actually see one in the distance on the horizon. There's a ship out there, but behind it there is a fog bank that I think is gradually getting burnt away. And it may well have been here in the south of the island earlier on this morning. We never got to see it. But when we drove back yesterday, and it was evening time, so 5 o'clock, you could see the fog, and as you came towards Palma. Amazing. So my walk today, I've left the car with Anita. I'm just going to walk around this way. And the previous video, the one I did last week, I walked along the walkway that way. There isn't the same walkway on this side. It's a little bit more dangerous and much more rugged, though you will find during the summer lots of people will actually walk a little bit around that way. And simply just to get to the rocks there, and then they will jump into the sea. And we used to do that. And what's new as well is that there will be a beach bar here. So that will get put back. It's just like a porta cabin type thing. Put toilets there as well. We're a nice little addition to the beach, but basically this area was so people just can get their boats in, and there's even a winch there to help you to do that, get your boat in and out of the water. And we would come with the scouts here sometimes, and we had canoes, and we used canoes, kayaks, not canoes. Well, we did actually have 2 canoes as well, but kayaks for them to play and go out to the islands. We've got 2 glass-bottomed canoes. It's quite cool. You just look down and you can see down underneath. There is a hotel up there. It's I'm not sure what it's called now. It was the Maria Luisa French hotel, mainly French-speaking people. And this is Old Bendinat. I'm going to walk around the corner here. I'll just go up a little. It's a bit steep, so I'll catch up with you when I get round the corner. I've just got around the corner a little bit. And the road carries on up. I'm going to turn right here. Our friends Stan and Jeanette used to live here, so we used to be like regular visitors. And I think just last year the tree came down here, again in those storms. When our children were small, the 2 younger ones used to go to the guarderia, the kindergarten here. And that's where they learnt their Spanish. And they loved it. They would go at 8:30 in the morning, and we wouldn't pick them up until 4:30 in the afternoon, and they didn't want to come away. They used to run off down into the gardens, play on the trampoline, on the swings. In the summer, we'd have barbecues there with all the parents, and it was very much a family atmosphere. And the couple who used to run it, they're long retired now, and up until fairly recently, we used to see them in Palma Nova. They retired and settled down in some Caliu Palma Nova area, and I've not seen them for quite a while. So I'm just walking into Old Bendinat. This is Avenida Bendinat, and behind some of these gates there are mansions, very big houses, very exclusive area. I find it almost unbelievable that they're actually building right by the sea. There you go. Wow. Looks like to see holes being dug. Huge house, huge hole. Telegraph pole, the telegraph wires attached that have come down. I think there's a tree down here. Something else been knocked down. Actually, on the right now, this is we're still on houses. We're coming up to the Hotel Bendinat. Still a house. Actually, it's got an ETV, so that's one where you can actually rent that place for a holiday. It's got a holiday rental license. Can't imagine how much that is for a week. Here's some damage that's been caused by something. The whole wall has collapsed there. Builders are busy around this area. Now we're getting to Hotel Bendinat area. Crossover. Some work on the pavement area. Like many places, the pavement here has been disrupted by the trees. And the trees at this time of the year have got lots of nests for the processionary caterpillars. So you need to just be very careful. They are quite dangerous. The other thing you get at this time of the year is pollen from the pine trees. It's like a yellow dust. And we've had lots of rain and wind in the past month or so. Less rain recently, but still quite a lot of wind. With a bit of luck, that's got rid of most of that pollen. It's something that really does affect me. It makes me itch tremendously. This is the Hotel Bendinat. Closed now. We'll be opening up in the next few weeks, and this is right on the edge of the sea. Yeah, the gate's open, and that's because the workers are there. They've got the cement mixer on, getting it ready for the new season. But it is a very nice hotel. I've only ever been a couple of times to visit, never to stay. And we had a dinner there, right by the beautiful dinner in a beautiful location. And I've been to, I think it might have been Rotary, used to have their meetings there. I think I was invited to go and speak at a Rotary meeting. Oh, has it come down? The wall here is actually, not sure how legal some of these things are, but that's a wall which the owner of the house next has put up. And this is an area which is, it's a public area, but the hotel have like sort of made it their own. And they do put some beds out here. And they have laid lots of concrete, much to the consternation of the locals who don't like the idea of concrete on the coastline. But this part's been like this for a while. I don't know, maybe it seems a lot better. It's nicely fenced off now. It is a little bit dangerous, getting close to the edge. The water's starting to look clear. There's a little bit of debris in there. Another ship going out. I think we've got somebody in the water over there, swimmer, snorkeler. This is the hotel, so the gate to the hotel there. And this area here is, I think, what the locals were complaining about, because they've obviously laid a lot of concrete here. There's a little way down, where you can just nicely walk into the sea. But this walkway along here is very unnatural, but it does make walking along a lot easier. If you can see that water there is quite deep, but very, very clear. So again, it's an area which the scouts would come round here in their kayaks and swim and snorkel. Areas like this have been made into sunbathing areas, so people will come from the hotel. Little hole there, I think that might be for a parasol. Like sitting areas. There's the snorkeler. Some more steps down there. So some steps down. Excuse me. Well, there's a little ledge down there. So you can dive into the water's quite deep here. And then here there's even a handrail. So you can go down and jump off into the sea. It's lovely, beautiful, well, truly. I can see fish down there as well, which is good. Get a bird's eye view of the construction work going on there. In the distance, that's Puerto Portals. That's the island off the beach, Portals, and then on into the distance we have Palmanova, and then going round to Torrenova and Magaluf. And then on this side, that's the island off Ilietis, that's military. And that's the area where I sometimes take my camera. The Bendinat Hotel. So all of these concreted areas, they've been designed to make it comfortable to put a towel down and just laze away. I think as much as the locals did protest about it, I think they actually might in some ways be grateful. This part here has actually been made in the form of a bench, so I'm going to make use of it and take the weight off my feet. It's nicely reclining. There's a gentle breeze, but not very much. Beautiful views. Well, while I'm sitting here, I might as well bring you up to date with a few items of news. So, one of the headlines in a lot of the papers is actually about the Palmer's old prison. The old prison was left many, many years ago, and they built a brand new prison just across the road within spitting distance, really. But the old prison was just left, and it became derelict, and homeless people started to find their way in. And it's actually home to something like 200 people at the moment. It is in a terrible state, it really is. They've had numerous fires. The people who live there quite often get into fights. A lot of them are in a desperate situation. And the local government has now decided that it all needs to be sorted out. They need to get the place back into a reasonable condition, and I'm not sure exactly whether that means demolishing it or whether it means repairing it, but obviously to do that they've got to get rid of all of the people that are living there, and it seems to be in a pretty disorganised fashion at the moment. The local church have said they're willing to get into talks with the council to try and rehome these people, try and get them somewhere where they can actually live in a much better condition. So that's an ongoing thing, and we'll see where that leads. On the sporting point news, the big one is our manager, Jacoba Araste, has finally been sacked. I don't think anyone is the least bit surprised about that. The team have really not been doing very well recently. We lie third from bottom, not winning very many matches, even at home we're not winning enough. And well, it came to the crunch, and on Monday he was given his P45, is it? Anyway, he gave a news conference yesterday and thanked the club, and I think he was almost in tears, saying he's learnt a lot and he just couldn't implement what he wanted to implement here. It didn't seem to work. He came to a different dressing room with a different mindset, and he hasn't been able to do that. So Mallorca, well, we're in the lookout for a new manager, and it needs to be done very soon because we've got another match coming up on Saturday, and they're going to come thick and fast now till the end of the season, and we really need to get out of that relegation zone. So anyone out there? We'll see. Well, as we've just been walking around Bendinat, we've seen there's lots of building. You might even be able to hear the construction work going on. But housing continues to be a news, not just for those that are homeless, but even for those people who are working and supposedly should be able to afford to buy or rent a place to live. And apparently January has just recorded the highest house prices yet. Here in Mallorca it's just so very expensive to live, and I've seen some adverts, people coming to work here expecting to be able to live a comfortable life. A teacher asking, can I find somewhere in Palma with 2 bedrooms for €1,000, and people have replied to her almost mockingly saying, you're dreaming. And I think they probably are dreaming. There just are not places for 2 bedrooms for €1,000. Anyway, that's something that the council and the government are trying to address with more social housing, or housing at a reasonable price being built. But it's far from over. There's a lot of problems to solve in the housing market. I do watch the news in the UK, and see that they're frequently talking about illegal immigrants, people who are coming across from boats from France. We have a very similar situation here, and in fact since Monday, today's Wednesday, since Monday 311 people have arrived in 17 different boats just since Monday, and it's a constant issue that we have here. And once they get to the island, somehow they've got to be looked after, cared for. Humanitarian aid has to be supplied. So it's not just in the UK. Here in Mallorca, we do have a similar problem. As I'm actually sitting here, there are not many boats out there. I can see one very small boat in the distance, and then the sailing boat, which is quite big, coming across here. And he seems to be catching the wind quite nicely and just steadily moving across the bay. And just down the coast in Santa Ponsa, dolphins have been spotted just offshore. It's not unusual. I do quite often see dolphins. I've seen them in Palma Nova, I've seen them in Peguera, and it's a really nice thing to see. I'm just keeping my eyes out over the sea here. I can't see any dolphins. But the divers still busy, snorkeling around just in front of me. Something I often see in the British press as well is always very anti-Mallorca for some reason. A lot of scaremongering saying that they're going to ban British property buyers, or they're going to ban British from going to Mallorca. All sorts of things that they keep saying, and they're not true. So, for example, the one that recently I've seen just today, I'm sure, in the British press, saying that UK buyers are not going to be able to buy property in Spain. Well, certainly it's not true in Mallorca. I don't know about anywhere else, but in Mallorca, they specifically said that they're not going to stop foreign buyers. And when they say British, it's not, when the British press say British, it's not specifically British, it's non-Europeans. Europeans fall into the European Union, whereas because Britain left the European Union, they don't come under the same rules anymore. But they come under the same rules as the Americans, the Canadians, the Australians, I nearly said South Americans, but the South Americans seem to have a different set of rules as well. But these rules are not specifically aimed at British at all, and this one simply is not true. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's been in the news in the UK and, well, here in Mallorca as well. In the UK, he's the head of a petrochemical industry. He's also someone who was very much in favour of Brexit, and then chose, as soon as Brexit happened, chose to go and live in Monaco. But he's also got a boat called Hampshire. He used to live in Hampshire. That was where his residence was until he decided to domicile in Monaco. But his boat apparently is either on its way or already in Mallorcan waters. He does spend quite a bit of time, or at least his boat spends quite a lot of time in the waters here. Used to be very much associated with cycling, and now the newspapers are saying that he has a property here, but that's never been confirmed, and I haven't got a clue where that is. But a bit of a controversial character as well. Some of the things he said recently in the British press have got people's backs up, and he's had to apologise. So yeah, someone who used to keep his head down very much so as he made his millions and billions, but seems to have come out a little bit more now, and is being a little bit more open-mouthed and been heard a little bit. As we were driving back to Mallorca yesterday, we decided we'd travel up north from Soller. So we went to Fornaluch, and then we carried on going up through the Tramontana. It's a beautiful drive, beautiful scenery. But as we got fairly close to the Gorge Blau, there was a fire truck pulled out in front of us, and then we got into a traffic jam. The cars just stopped, and we didn't really know what had happened. And we sat there for, I don't know, half an hour or more while we were waiting for the traffic to start moving. It started in the opposing direction, and then we started to move. As we got through, we could actually see that some of the scrubland just down to our left had been burnt. It was all out, the fire. There was no fire, but there were several fire engines. The Bendinat, which is the forestry fire protection area, were there as well. There's quite a lot of police. And it all seemed to be out, and didn't seem to be very much. Anyway, as we went a little bit further, we saw another police car come towards us. We saw an ambulance come towards us. I thought that might have been something to do with a cyclist or some other sort of accident. Anyway, I pick up the newspapers this morning and I see that the fire was actually created on purpose as a way of clearing some of the scrub to make it less dangerous. And it was started by a 78-year-old man whose car was parked in the area, his dog was there. But the fire officers in attendance couldn't actually find the man. Anyway, once the fire was all completely out and they went to investigate the area a bit more closely, they discovered his body, and sadly he had passed away. Body was burnt, but it seems that he may have died from some other cause. And there's no details of what that might have been yet, but very sad. But the fire was brought under control very quickly. There was a helicopter called in, and the helicopter dropped some water on there, very close to the Gorge Blau and the Cuba Reservoir, so not really a shortage of water in that particular area. But very sad that this gentleman has lost his life. For those of you coming to visit the island in this summer, then you might have to face the entry-exit system. It's supposed to be in full operation, but it seems to be causing a problem at some airports, and some of the airports in France have actually asked for it to be put on hold because of the delays and the issues that they're having. So far, our experience of it here in Palma is that it is up and running and is not causing any delays at all. But we haven't had many flights coming through, and we've not had the amount of traffic. So it will be Easter time that it starts to show whether it is causing an issue or not. I don't know, have we got any plans now? I don't think we've got any plans before Easter to go back to the UK, so we won't be able to try it until after Easter. But if you are coming through and you do get any delays, or you have any good experience or bad experiences of this electronic entry system here in Mallorca, do let me know, and I'll just let other people know, because it's obviously something that's concerning. When you read even our local press, it's talking about 4-hour delays of getting through. I don't know what they're basing that upon, because what we've seen so far from first-hand experience, and Anita's actually been through it, is that there's no delays at all. It's, you just go to the machine, type your details in, and away you go. We, as residents here in Mallorca, don't have to go through it, but for some reason Anita, when she came through at Christmas with Serena, decided to go through with them. They are still stamping passports, and so that obviously can cause a delay. It's a physical process, and it's just one man with a stamp, and he just stamps the passport. For the machines, there are lots of machines. They weren't all actually in use when we've walked past them, but they've not been needed, so I guess they can gear up a few more machines if they need to. But time will tell, and if I hear anything, excuse me, I will actually put out something on the video about that. I was asked in one comment, is there anything on at the end of February, beginning of March? And well, we're at the end of February, beginning of March is next week. And yes, there is in the Baleares, not just in Majorca, but throughout the Baleares. We'll be celebrating the Baleares Day, which is the 1st of March, but there will be events going on before and after that, largely in Palma, but apparently there's well over 300 events going on in the whole of the islands. 200 or so of them are going to be in Palma, I think. But so in and around the 1st of March, which is a public holiday, it's actually on a Sunday, so the public holiday has been moved to Monday. So Sunday, Monday are going to be like the 2 big days. Offices and shops, some shops will be closed, offices will be closed, government businesses will be closed, but there will be lots of things going on. There's a really big market going on, which will be down, I think, near to the front in Palma, near to the cathedral, and Mallorca. There's actually a sobrasada cooking competition in Safashina, which sounds very nice and very tasty to me. So yeah, there should be lots of things going on, but not just here in Manacor. There's concerts going on. So yeah, just keep your eye out in the local press. That's the Mallorca Daily Bulletin is in English, but Última Hora and Crónica Balear, they have details of things that are going on. Just keep your eye out for those. If you're staying in a hotel, ask at the hotel, they perhaps have some information. But sometimes you just tend to stumble across these. And then we'll have the usual markets that are going on in addition to those. So yeah, there's lots going on, and the place is really beginning to pick up. We've started to see more hotels opening here in the Calvia area. That's the Palma Nova, Magaluf, Santa Ponsa, Peguera. And we saw the mayor of Calvia in the papers. He was down on Magaluf Beach inspecting the work on the promenade. That's not apparently expected to finish until the end of April, so they've still got a couple of months to go on that. Oh, I think I've just seen a dolphin. Oh, I think I have, just out of the corner of my eye. I'm not gonna, it's gone again. Anyway, in Peguera, the work's going to be going on for a couple more weeks yet, and in Santa Ponsa, March the 31st, I think, is the date that they've got set for finishing that. What did I just see out there? It's gone. Whatever it was that came out of the water has disappeared. How exciting. Anyway, I'll go and keep my eye on that for a moment. For any of you thinking of coming out for the Mallorca Live concert, it's Mallorca's answer to Glastonbury, the big festival. The Kaiser Chiefs apparently have been confirmed as one of the artists that are going to be there, so that should be good. Not something we'll be going to, but our son's actually going. Well, I'm not sure what I did see out in the sea, but no signs of any dolphins, so nothing for me to take photographs. There's 1 or 2 boats that are coming by though now, so that's nice to see. Something that, again, to do with travelling is affects people who are residents here in Mallorca, residents in Spain and the rest of Europe, and elsewhere. And it means that if they are travelling, if it's a British resident and they're travelling to the UK, they need to be using their UK passport. And it applies really to those who've taken out dual nationality. And something we considered with Brexit. Life is much easier, would be much easier if we were Spanish nationals, or at least that's what we thought. In the end, it didn't affect us because we'd been living here for so long, and the agreement that was made meant that we carried on with the same situation as before. So we are amongst the lucky people that live here. But if you have dual nationality, you've got a Spanish passport and you've got a British passport, then going to the UK, you have to have a British passport or proof that you are British. You can't travel on your Spanish passport. And the reason is, if you travel on the Spanish passport, you have to have an ETA, ETA, and you can't apply for an ETA if you're British. That's where the problem is. Now, some people who've changed their nationalities to Spanish say, well, we don't need a British passport anymore. So they don't have a British passport. So if they want to go now from today or tomorrow to the UK, they've somehow got to prove that they are British. And to do that, They need either a passport. If they haven't got to a passport, they've got to apply for one, which obviously takes time and costs about, over 100 euros for us to get one over here. Or they can get a certificate, and the certificate is actually nearly 600 euros or 600 pounds. It's a lot of money. And so that's a particular issue. What has happened, though, is that the UK government has said you can actually use an expired license. So if you expired passport as proof of British citizenship. That doesn't mean the airlines are going to accept that. Some have already said that they will, but it's no means certain. So there's a bit of uncertainty for those people. We didn't, in the end, take out Spanish nationality. We've kept our British passport. We don't have Spanish passport. And so when we leave and come back, we do so with a British passport. But we do have a Spanish ID card, which is a permanent residence card. So when we come back into Spain and when we leave Spain, we do show our residence card, so we don't have our passport stamps. So it doesn't affect us. And our grandchildren, well, they don't have a British passport, so they only have a Spanish ID and Spanish passport. So they can travel to the UK with the ETA. And they have to buy it. They have to pay for it. It's like 20 euros, I think, to go to the UK for them. Even as children, when ETIAS eventually comes into Mallorca, it's costs a similar amount of money, lasts for longer, and children don't have to pay, and over a certain age they don't have to pay either. I think it's over 70. Anyway, it's another one of those bureaucratic things, another thing that Brexit has brought upon people travelling to and from the UK. And just to finish off this newsy type of report that I've added to this video, is that it is beautiful and the temperature's well into the 20s. Yesterday, I think maximums of 24 degrees, something similar today, which is a little bit unusual for this time of February, but it does happen. And it looks as though it's going to continue like this for the next 2 or 3 days. So anyone who's here on holiday from the UK for half term, they're having some glorious weather, and long may it continue. Well, I've had a lovely relaxing time just sitting here pretty much on my own, watching the boats go out. There's a couple more ferries out there, and 3 smaller boats I can see in the distance. They are tiny little boats. No sign of any dolphins. Must be an optical illusion. Going to make my way back now. Lots of little steps and ups and downs here. That's the hotel, and that's the terrace. So you're lucky enough to be able to come here in the evening when the hotel's open. You can sit on that terrace, have your dinner whilst overlooking the sea. The work continues on the building. This little bit actually does need a bit of care. It's not very nice. And there is a little of water coming out here, and that's generally the case. Anyway, I'm going to make my way back up the steps here, up to the main road, and then back to Anita. I'll turn the camera off for a bit now, and if I see anything else I'll put it back on. But thanks for watching, see you in a bit. I don't know how many times I've walked along here, but I've never actually noticed that little walkway that takes me down to the side. So let's go and investigate. I've just gone past the new build, which is just to my left, and this is where they're digging the big hole in the ground down there. So damaged the wall. I've done that intentionally. I've never noticed this before. Go anywhere, but there's a little viewing point. So I was just around the coast a little bit further that way. This is our very rocky coast, and then that's the entrance to the bay of Portals now. That's on that opposite side of the water there. That's where I walk along to go around the headland. And this is that magnificent house that we can see from the other side. Interesting. Anyway, I'll carry on making my way back. I've got to go and pick Anita up. Well, that's where the little beach is, but I'm hoping I can walk up this way. I know there's a little road that goes up to the left here, but sometimes it's cut off because of building work. Anyway, I'm going to investigate all these buildings. Huge houses have been built again since we came to the island. So relatively new. So if I can walk up this road, it's very steep, but it does mean I cut off a big corner going back to Anita. Well, it looks as though I can get up there. That'll save me a lot of time. It's very steep, so I'm not going to video going up here. Nearly at the top. I just wanted to show you this building. It's been under reconstruction for a very, very long time. And yes, I am a bit out of breath. Just walked up there. And still a little bit to go. And this was a hotel when we came here. Closed down, I'm not sure. I think it probably still is it? Or is it this now apartments? We'll see. Well, I've made it back to Anita. It really is hard work and hot work walking. It really, I didn't need the jacket now, but lovely walk, lovely by the sea.
Good.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.